Hey, what's up guys, it's SonicFreak here, and today, let's talk about Sonic 4 and why it's such a disappointment. Now before I get started, if you guys seen my last video or if you haven't seen it already, I have talked about the Sonic Genesis Trilogy series with Sonic 1, 2, 3, and Knuckles. I figured that would be appropriate for me to talk about before I jump to Sonic 4, so that way I can kind of reference back to the other Sonic games briefly. But if you haven't seen it, check it out. I'll leave the link in the description if you haven't seen it. But if you have seen it, you kind of know where my expectations stand with Sonic 3 and Knuckles being the last one. So Sonic 4 apparently continues Sonic 3 and Knuckles. In fact, it's supposed to be so good that it took Sega 16 years to make that game, to make Sonic 4. The sequel to a game that came out over 16 years ago. Now, to put this into perspective, that took longer than Kingdom Hearts 3 release, as it only took Square Enix 14 years to create their sequel to Kingdom Hearts 2, versus Sega was 16 years with Sonic 4. So, once again, if it's gonna take 16 years to make a sequel to one of the best trilogy games on the Sega Genesis, my expectations are gonna be really sky high. I mean, you're talking about me waiting 16 years for a sequel, man? That's longer than Kingdom Hearts 3, man. That surpasses the wait by 2 years. So, Sonic 4, it should be totally worth the wait, right? Well, let me just say, when I finally played Sonic 4 back on the PS3, you know what happened? I played 15 minutes of it, and after my first 15 minutes of the game, I immediately uninstalled it. I'm not kidding, because Sonic 4 freaking sucks. There are so many things wrong with this game, I don't know where to start. So, for starters, let's just talk about the release timing of Sonic 4. 16 years? Like, really? Was this game really in development for 16 years with Sonic 4? And speaking of development, Sonic Team wasn't even involved with Sonic 4. That's right, Sonic Team, the ones that were in charge of Sonic 1, 2, 3, and Knuckles, with their main director Yuji Naka, who helped supervise and lead those Ultimate Sonic games on the Genesis, had no involvement with Sonic 4. And who had involvement with Sonic 4? It was Dimps. Now, for those of you who don't know what Dimps is, Dimps was the development team that created the Sonic Advance and Sonic Rush series. Now, don't get it twisted, their handheld lineup is pretty solid, especially Sonic Advance. I will give Dimps props for that. But it doesn't change the fact that the Sonic team and the brains himself, Yuji Naka, did not create Sonic 4. So already the game is unfaithful to its past sequels. And the biggest evidence for this is the overall game engine. Now, it's cool that they tried 3D graphics, but let's be honest here, it looks very cheap and ugly. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a big fan of the 3D graphic rendering for Sonic and just the graphics in general. This sort of thing will work if it was made for like a mobile game, which ironically came out for mobile. This is one of the first few Sonic games that came out for mobile, but I digress. Anyway, I think they should have stuck with a sprite art to be faithful to Sonic 1, 2, and 3 and Knuckles versus using the 3D renderings, but that's just one of the problems I have with it. The second problem I have with this game is that Sonic overall feels slow in this game, and his homing attack feels clunky and out of place. Now, I know I'm nitpicking the heck out of Sonic 4, but rightfully so. If the game presentation and gameplay doesn't exceed its past sequels, then that's a huge problem. Considering Sonic 3 and Knuckles came out 16 years before Sonic 4's release, yet Sonic 4 fails in presentation, gameplay, development, and even the music. Even with bad Sonic games like Sonic 06, at least the music was good. With Sonic 4, I can't even say that. The music just sucks in this game. It feels very generic and uninspiring, and there's hardly any memorable tracks that I can kind of remember or grasp from Sonic 4, and that's a shame. And lastly, let's just talk about the episodes. This is what really made me upset with Sonic 4, is the fact that they tried to cash grab with an incomplete game. There was never episodes in the past Sonic games, but splitting the game up into episodes is just stupid. It should all just be a single game, fully complete, The reason why Sonic 3, like I mentioned in my previous video, had to be split into 2 carts was because Sonic 3 and Knuckles was too big in size. But now, back then, that was in 1994. When Sonic 4 came out, it was 2010, where we had Blu-ray discs and gigabytes of data. There was no excuse for it to be split into micro sequels, a sequel within a sequel. It already sounds stupid, the concept is stupid. Everything that made Sonic 3 and Knuckles great was missing this game, from the full Angel Island experience to Knuckles being absent to Tails not even being fully playable for the first episode. I mean, even the second episode, he's barely playable, if that even counts. No Hypersonic, no Super Emeralds, the list just goes on and on, with Sonic 4 lacking with his previous games that came out. And you know what? I heard that Sonic 4 Episode 3 was supposed to include Knuckles and add in more Angel Island levels, but guess what? It got cancelled before it can even come out because Sonic 4 flopped so hard that people forgot or just simply ignored its existence. I mean, let's be real here. How many people you hear talk about Sonic 4? Hardly anybody, because the game just sucks. And technically speaking, we shouldn't be calling this the Sonic trilogy anymore because of Sonic 4, coming out. It just kind of ruins it. But, that's why I call it the Sonic Genesis trilogy, because the Sega Genesis trilogy was a classic. So with all that being said, let's just be honest and just conclude what this game was. First, this was clearly a cash grab for classic Sonic fans. 2, this game was never in development for 16 years, because if that was the truth, if it really was in development for 16 years, this game would be better than Sonic Mania. This would be 3 times better than Sonic Mania if it took them 16 years. And Sonic Mania only took less than 2 to 3 years to develop, and that was made by Sonic fans, so there's really no excuse for that. And 3, the truth is, during 2010, after the failure of Sonic 06, Sega was just honestly out of ideas, and Sonic Generations was also delayed, further putting them into a slump. So Sega had to quickly put out a Sonic game to keep the Sonic fans happy while making them a profit, and this was most likely a scrap mobile Sonic game made by Dimps, hence why the game looked like it's made for mobile with its graphics. Let's keep it real here. So, they repackage it up and just slap Sonic 4 on the cover to make a quick buck. That's the most logical theory I can think of with Sonic 4 and its whole existence. And it's honestly a wasted title with so much potential. I feel like Sonic Mania could have had the title for Sonic 4. Sonic Mania feels like a Sonic 4. It should have been Sonic 4, but they can't even use that because they wasted that freaking title on this garbage ass Sonic game here, which I can't even call it or respect it as Sonic 4. But hey, anyway, that's my rant. That's my thoughts on Sonic 4. How do you feel about Sonic 4? Do you think it's a true sequel to Sonic 3 and Knuckles? Or do you feel like it's a shameless cash grab? I'm curious to hear your thoughts below, and until then, peace.